Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.
So, I'm not excited for what we're about to do. May the Lord please protect my liver. So, in front of us, we have a purple jug. Now, if you're familiar at all with how much lean I consume, I often am seen sipping out of a purple jug, let's say.
It's like this much usually.
Usually. So this is a 2 liter of Hector's Hard, I guess, lemonade. It's ripping off it's a local brand. I won't say their name. I just said the brand, whatever. But it's a local brand ripping off Mike's Hard. So it's called Hector's Hard. This is the Purple Craze. Is that a G or a C?
I think it's a C.
Purple Craze version. So in front of us, we have 2 liters of 7% alcohol. What is it even? High fructose corn syrup and grain alcohol, I think.
Yep.
So we're going to drink this today, and I am not...
So what flavors were there?
Normal and then purple.
Oh.
And I was like...
That's ambitious.
If I'm going to buy something just for the joke, I got to go purple. Yeah.
For sure.
So why don't you do the honors of cracking it and pouring us a glass?
Nice.
While I introduce the podcast name that this is, Alcohol Podcast Beyond This.
Oh, that smell just hit me. You know when you like crack a bottle of wine or some nice whiskey and you waft it and it's like, it's a pleasurable
Experience?
This
was not a pleasurable experience for you?
I feel like I just snorted a Jolly Rancher.
High praise so far.
I guess so. Okay. Oh, I can't even pick this thing up. It's so full.
Just fucking go. Just give her. Oh, you didn't even spill any. That color.
Ooh-wee. Oh, that's pretty good. That's beautiful. Clarity.
Thank you.
10 out of 10. Smell. 12 out of 10.
Wait, so you're... Oh, I smell it now, too. It's not even near my nose.
Yeah, I know. It's strong. It just smells like sugar.
Right. Hold on. I'm getting yogurt?
Yes. Yeah. It smells like
blueberry yogurt.
Yeah, it smells like
the tubes.
Like a blue yogurt tube.
The fucking tubes.
Yeah, tube yogurt. Whoever the fuck made that a thing.
Okay, so shorts, I guess?
Shorts.
See you on the other side, buddy.
Rip. Doesn't taste as strong as it smells.
Remember, this is 7% alcohol.
That doesn't taste like anything.
It tastes very light on the palate. I don't know if that's a praise or not.
I'm glad it's not as sweet as it smells.
It's almost sour.
If you've ever had those sparkling ice drinks, Carly's mom got them for me because I told her I like sparkling water, so she got me these sparkling ice drinks.
Okay.
Which is basically like a Smirnoff Ice without the liquor.
Why would you ever drink that?
It was fucked. So gross.
Okay.
That was worse than this.
Because at least when you're drinking shitty alcohol, you can be like, well, at least I'm drinking alcohol.
At least I'm getting drunk.
Yeah.
No, that's just sugar.
So this is probably a lot of sugar, but like...
Oh, yeah.
I feel it's definitely lighter on the palate than I thought it was going to be.
I love that you don't need nutrition facts.
Yeah,
on liquor.
Alcohol, you're exempt from nutrition facts.
So we have no idea. It's probably a lot. Not more than Coke or Pepsi, but
probably no. I'd assume higher.
Yeah,
calorie count wise, yeah, because you have the alcohol as well.
Well, not calorie count, sugar.
Probably very similar. I bet it's very similar to a pop. And then add the fucking 7% alcohol too. It pushes the calorie count over.
Oh yeah, absolutely calories.
I'd reckon that's probably close to 1,000 calories for the fucking 2 liter.
Nice. I had like 1,000 calories on the way here, so.
I haven't had I've consumed 1,000 calories in probably 3 days, like all together.
What about including the beer?
No. Anyway, my name is Willows.
And my name is Tyler.
And welcome back to Alcohol Beyond This Point. This is episode 61.
Wow.
This is going to be our last episode in February. I don't know why that has any significance.
Yeah,
but
why bring that up?
it's a short
Oh,
one.
it's because
so-
World War III starts in March.
Yeah, we might die, but we'll be here drinking Hector's Hard Purple Craze and
Duplicating it so we can sell it to the masses.
yeah. What do you think about So there's a lot of like I'm in the craft alcohol industry, right? And there's like we almost exclusively, I won't say exclusively, but primarily sell artisanal higher priced wines, like for like
Yeah.
most
Craft
of my
wines.
yeah, they're cottage wines. Most of my wines are around the $20 mark, which for Winnipeg is expensive for a bottle of wine. 20, 25, 22, $30 my products go up to. But this was like $9.99 for 2 liters.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like trading your image? Because I posted a picture of this in the Winnipeg craft beer drinkers group that I'm in, and everyone was like, "Oh, Godspeed!" Like,
Rip,
rip, yeah, rip. Like, I hope like you'll be okay.
I mean, they already had a 2-liter bottling line, so
Yeah, and this company makes the objectively the worst beer ever.
can we drink that on the podcast?
Stone Cold, yeah, for sure.
I've
for sure.
I've unironically never had it.
Okay, the stereotype of like drinking in the back of the bus like homeless people, I used to do that.
Nice.
So yeah, this company, I'll just say their name because now we've said 2 of their brands. You
Yeah,
just fucking Google them.
they sold
So-
out decades ago. Nobody cares.
Yeah, Fort Garry Brewing Company is actually the oldest brewery in Manitoba by far, by like 30 or 40 years. Well, the original one I think was founded in like the 20s or something. Like,
Yeah.
and then it's changed hands 100 times. Changed hands to foreign investors for a while there, and now it's half owned by it's like half owned by the employees, half owned by a Saskatchewan-based investment firm. But that was like 5 years ago they did
Yeah.
that. But anyway, so this company for the most part is like 50 years old. The main brewery. Excuse me, the fucking purple haze is getting me. and they make craft beer. Not this. They make like craft beer that they market as like it's expensive. It's for an older crowd. Like they make these beers, but then they also make this beer called Stone Cold, which is sold in 2 liters for like $9. Doesn't have their branding anywhere on it
Yeah.
except
Fine print.
the lowest legal size you can put on the bottle of where it's produced.
Yeah.
And they don't talk about it or anything. But I know a guy who owns an inner city vendor, and he sells like 20,000 2 liters a month in that one location.
Yeah. Just
And I've
an absurd amount of beer.
obscene. And I've heard from different sources, multiple different sources, that said that Fort Garry wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for Stone Cold. That like keeps the lights on.
Yeah, I fully believe that because
Yeah.
everything else they have is trash.
And it's literally, Stone Cold is the most disgusting beer. But that's the point. It's $9 for 2 liters of it, and it's like 7% alcohol, and that's the joke.
So could you make a Stone Cold like inexpensively but make it more palatable?
Not really. It's the scale.
Okay.
We did I don't know how we always seem to attract crazy people in our lives. Maybe that says something about me, but that's a conversation for another day. But we had somebody who approached us to start a joint venture of making basically the Stone Cold Killer.
Okay.
And then he got arrested.
I like that name, Stone Cold Killer.
Yeah. And then he got arrested for weapons trafficking.
Oh yeah.
And is
I love this guy.
is currently in prison. Yeah, they have him on video just like bagging coke. Like he's not getting out of it. Yeah, so
not even a good criminal.
he got sentenced to like 15 years for being part of a fucking criminal empire.
Nice.
But yeah, he was and then now that like in retrospect, he was trying to start that to launder money, we think.
oh, probably.
Right? So Zach and I, my business partner and I, would have been all tied up in that bullshit probably. So, and just like later, a year after that, someone wanted to pitched running a brew pub with my business partner Zach, and then he turned out to be a pedophile.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then also hit a bunch of protesters with his car.
Yeah, and I don't want to say any more on that. But
You can literally Google that one, though.
But what do you think about like trading clout for money, basically? Like Fort Garry's kind of the laughing stock of the craft beer community,
Yeah.
but they make way more goddamn the money than I do.
So selling out your brand, selling out your, not I shouldn't
Your
say
image.
not your ethics, but your.
Yeah, it's whatever your ethics.
It's not an ethical issue. It's
Just a brand, right? Like
yeah, I guess it's a brand. Your
you don't want
reputation.
You're right. Yeah. Your clout, like, yeah.
For money.
What do you think?
I think.
You know what's funny?
Yes.
Just side note, I'm drinking a different Fort Garry beer right now.
And
That's pretty good.
oh, well, I haven't had that one.
This is one of my favorites. It's a peach cobbler sour. I like maybe 3 of their beers. None of their cores. I like their weird experimental stuff.
Right.
Because I think in the last 5 years, 20 breweries have opened. When they were the only ones for like 30 years. I think they're trying to step up their game recently.
My guess would be those side brews that you like this one, are the ones that the brewer gets to make and make his own recipes for, and the cores
And the other
he
one,
hates making but has to make.
yeah, I think I agree with you. I think you're right. From just what I know of everything.
Yeah, they've got stodgy management. They're like, don't fuck with the recipe.
So I actually met one of the founders of this company.
From the 1920s.
Yeah. No. Because I think like the brewery that was founded in like the 20s or whatever in like 1916 isn't actually this brewery. One of them bought each other out and then took the name.
Right.
I think is what happened. This one I think is widely accepted to have been founded in the 80s.
Okay.
But anyway, I met one of the owners or one of the founders. He sold it in 2012 or 14 or whatever, and retired. But I met him at a wedding this summer actually, and he recognized me, and pulled me out of the group, and I was fucking blackout drunk. But I remember talking.
Why wouldn't you?
But he was giving me some advice, and I was just telling him. He's like, "Oh, is NBL getting any better?" I'm like, "Nope, they're actually getting worse." He's like, "Yeah, it sounds about right." And he was just giving me, shooting the shit. But he's probably in his 70s, maybe older. I don't want to offend him if he's listening, but he's definitely older than like my father.
Yeah,
for sure. But it was cool. Like, as much as I'm shitting on this product specifically, on a couple of their products, it's like I'm not a pretentious. Like, there's a lot of people in my industry, in the craft beer industry, that are fucking pretentious.
it's all ego.
I have people that hate us still for like, I don't even know why.
Yeah.
But other brewery owners hate my winery, I think because, well, there's probably a bunch of things. I probably pissed them off. But first and foremost, I've gotten hate from other owners because we make wine out of fruit.
Yeah.
In addition to making wine out of grapes, which we do. I grow my own fucking grapes, but whatever. But I also make wine out of fruit. And I think I've gotten like, I don't think, I know this. I've gotten shit on by other brewery owners. And it's like, dude, like people are like, I sell fucking 300 cases a year of raspberry wine. Fuck off. Like, people buy it. Why do you give a shit?
Hey, grapes are fruit. Fuck off.
Well, yeah, that's, it's such a dumb, but whatever. But like the craft beer group, I don't know if this is.
Yeah, nobody's shitting on the mead guys.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like.
They're stealing bees' honey.
I don't know if this is like across the board that craft beer owners are just pretentious. I think it is.
I think it is.
But yeah,
it's like tech bros and how much money they raise.
Well, dude, there's always memes about like gatekeeping in the beer industry, like fucking like people I know are fucking such pretentious assholes. Like when a woman is trying to get into craft beer and they're like, "Well, honey, maybe we'll find a pilsner for you."
Right.
It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, like, I don't know. I just like.
It's like, you know who taught me good taste? My mother.
One of the reasons,
Probably you too.
Yeah, like one of the reasons why I don't see myself being a lifer in this industry is because it's so toxic.
You know what? I think
Love my customers to death, but the other people
Yeah.
in the industry, I
don't think you can. I don't think you're going to do that because I think you're too much of a shit disturber, and you would rather just continue to spit in the eye of everyone and just make money hand over fist. Like Pink Whitney's a spit in the eye
yeah.
of like the fundamentals of liquor and what should sell and what's good. And I think you'd be better off just doing that and coming out with Hector's Hard Purple Craze than bowing to the pretentious assholes. Because I was listening to Joe Rogan on the way here.
Because we're white supremacists.
Yes. And he was talking about how just the simple idea of being able to change your own mind. You know, that ideas are not your identity. You are not your ideas. And if you don't grasp that fact, like you're just living on ego. You're not living on. You're not making decisions with your mind. You're not living, or you're not like actually observing the universe around you. You're either looking for validation or you're defending yourself.
No, I think things you said 20 years ago should preclude you from getting a job now. I don't think people can't change.
Yeah, it's so fucked. They were talking about cancel culture, I guess, kind of in that, not in a direct sense, but like the idea that there's a Brazilian podcaster that got canceled fucking hard because he's like a free speech absolutist. And he's like, yeah, I think that Nazis should be able to have a political party and be able to, you know, have a podcast, and that should be legal and should be fine because just because, you know, they hate Jews, like there's people on the other side that hate Nazis as much as they hate Jews. It's like, why is one level of hate more acceptable than the other? And he's like, the radical left has all this room to roam free, and the radical right is like, this is evil. And it's like, he's phrasing it in such a way that's like, well, like maybe there should be an exception for Nazis, but he's like I said, an absolutist, and he was probably pretty drunk when he made this comment, and he got fucking canceled for that. And here's the wrap-up of it. The ACLU had the same exact stance and statement in the mid-early 90s, saying...
Because they believe in free speech.
Right, and they're like, this is with Jewish leadership in this organization, and this is, 40 years after the Holocaust? 50 years? And they're like, no, we don't want to censor Nazis. We think that's a bad precedent to set. And then, 20 years later, white people somewhere are like, you can't say Nazis are okay. Like, people that were not at all affected by them or their ideology all of a sudden have a stronger stance than the actual victims of the crime. Like,
so here's my two schools of thought here. I'm pretty people should be able to say whatever they want. And if they have bad ideas, the marketplace will determine that those are bad ideas.
So
like,
is cancellation that?
So I'll get there. So have you ever heard one of these fucking, what's that guy's name? Richard Spencer or whatever. You ever fucking hear these people talk where they're talking about like the superiority of white genetics and shit? Like, not enough. I want to hear more because it's interesting. It's fucking ludicrous, right? Like, it's like a good example is Django Unchained, the Quentin Tarantino movie where DiCaprio has the skull.
Oh, he's going over phrenology,
and he's like, black people. He's not using that word. You can fill in the blanks. Black people have a thing in their brain that makes them naturally subservient to white people. Yeah, and he's like pointing at parts of the brain and shit.
Well, it's an actual skull.
Yeah.
A slave presumably killed on his plantation.
It was like his. It was his father's slave or whatever.
Yeah.
Because because he would every morning he would shave him with a straight razor, and he's like, why wouldn't you cut my father's neck?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know why? Because
he's subservient.
N-words are subservient to white people naturally. It's part of their fucking thing. And it's like, Quentin obviously wrote that to be ridiculous to be satire though, right?
That wasn't actually that.
No, I think that was like commonly believed, right?
I was gonna say that was the like cutting edge, bleeding edge science of the time. That was like incredibly like appropriate for him to be saying, because that was actually generally accepted not only by like politicians and doctors, but by like the educated elite at large.
You ever watch, like, I'll watch these fucking, not often. Yeah. Oh, no, actually often. I was lying. I every night I put on, white supremacist rants to fall asleep.
Ironically, and it's sinking in slowly. Oh no!
Oh, it's so funny to just watch these people that are like, I am genetically superior, and these fat beer belly redneck type of guys.
Yeah,
it's like, come on. Anyway, but so my point being,
and then LeBron James exists.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, yeah, Shaquille O'Neal is the genetic inferior, and you are. But my point being, you listen to that, and anyone with a brain is like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly what we're making fun of on this podcast just now. Yeah, of course, right? So you should let the racists talk, because most people are like, that's dumb. However, and I think I've said this before, is Nazism is inherently violent, because a core tenet of Nazism is to commit violence against certain minorities.
Yeah, same with accelerationist leftists. They want to do a bunch of violence and kill a bunch of people and end society. Like,
okay, yeah, but like cops aren't real people.
True. No, let's like kill the entire capital class.
Yeah, and the rich,
like,
yeah,
kill every landlord.
Yeah,
kill every banker.
Yeah,
oh, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, they're not real people.
Okay.
If you abuse the excess labor, you're not a real person. You're a fucking leech.
Oh, like the banking class in 1936 did.
Is that a Jew joke?
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't like that argument, because it's the same argument as, well, black people had slaves before we came over.
Yeah, and it was really violent. It wasn't good.
Yeah,
just because it existed doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I guess it's like
they were doing crimes against humanity. It's fine.
Well, it's called whataboutism, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like
American whataboutism is basically foreign policy wrapped up.
Well, yeah, American whataboutism is the two-party system, right? It's like, well, why is your candidate good? It's like, well, Trump is fucking sexist.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not what I asked you. I asked you why your candidate is qualified. Why is Biden qualified? Did you see Trump's fucking... It's like, no, that's not what I asked you. Like, it's just whataboutism, right? What about him? What about this? What about that? It's like, well, fuck off. But, yeah, I guess like it's hard, because the whole thing with the First Amendment and free speech in Canada and that kind of idea, even, and to a extent as well, like the non-aggression principle, which is the basis of like libertarian and anarchist ideology, is, as long as you don't hurt somebody else, then you can do it. Like but your rights end where my begin, right?
Yeah.
So if your ideology is that my class of people should be exterminated, you can't believe that without infringing on my rights.
Yeah.
So I understand where Canada wants to ban hate speech, because that's infringement. Just you believing those thoughts is infringing on my rights.
Yeah, like if they could just have like a Nazi commune, which is funny.
Yeah, they do in like Argentina, right in the mountains.
Yeah, the fact that they live in a commune and they're Nazis is ironic.
Nazism specifically
is expansionist. It's imperialist.
Yes, but like Nazism specifically is not just racist. It's racist with the bottom line of killing them.
It's eugenics baked in. It's all these other things.
But there's, I'm sure, racist communities that are just like, they don't want to kill them. They're just racist.
Yeah,
they just want them to go away.
Yeah, like if it was possible, what I was gonna say is, if it was possible just to have like like Mad Max or something like that, where it's like post-apocalypse, postmodern society, and you have a village or a town, and it's just full of a bunch of Nazis, and they just kind of do their Nazi thing, and it's only white people over there, and they just kind of stick over to their corner, and like if you're not white and not one of them, to not go over there, but you like maybe trade food sometimes.
Yeah,
like that's feasible. That's fine. You can live over there. We'll live over here. But that the thing is, their belief system won't allow them to do that. Their belief system will mean we need to now crush your village.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm still thinking
like our village is great, but like yours is not okay.
I'm still thinking give every conservative the east side of North America and give every liberal the west side of North America, and just that solves every problem.
They can't keep their fingers out of the Ukraine. What do you think?
What do you think they're gonna do to?
What do you think they'll do to
all
each
the
other?
conservatives are in Alberta and we get Manitoba, then it's there is no solution, and everyone, as my hero George Carlin would say, it's all bullshit and it's bad for you.
On that note, do you want to take a shot?
Duh. Have I ever said no to that? Whenever a bartender asks me if I want another drink, I always respond, well, I've never said no to that question. Even though I often do say no to that question, but that's besides the point.
And they laugh hysterically.
Give me some more purple craze, Tyler.
Give me more of that purple stuff.
Lean in my cup, lean in my cup. We are going to transfer here to the segment that we call Shot Caller. I was about to say top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning. The Shot Caller is the segment that we take a shot that you, the audience, picks for us.
Oh, it still smells gross.
Today we are taking another shot of Fireball Swinneman whiskey, because I have 2 bottles of it by accident, so I'm just trying to get rid of this, so I'm going to shoot it until then.
Sounds good.
So thank you, Excess Alcohol, for sponsoring this episode. The cinnamon really goes good with the purple, I think.
I hate you for saying that.
You know who I don't trust? People that say, like, the name of a Gatorade. Like, oh, I'll take a wild berry Gatorade.
Yeah.
Get the fuck... You're fucking cop, aren't you?
This is wild berry.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's...
Can I have the Hector's Hard, the wild berry flavor?
Yeah,
that's a narc.
Yeah,
fucking narc.
Yeah, I saw some tweet that was like, only fucking undercover cops call like Gatorade by the actual fruit name, and then someone responds to it like, well, how do you differentiate between like the the blueberry and then the fucking cool blue? He's like, dark blue and light blue, you fucking cop. Like, so a man walks in, man comes home carrying a chicken under his arm.
Gross, but okay.
And he says, walks up to his wife and he goes, hey, this is the pig I've been fucking. And the wife goes, that's a chicken. He says, shut up, I'm not talking to you.
Oh, canceled. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good.
It's from The Sopranos, which I just finished a couple days ago, actually. Yeah, we were kind of talking about it before getting on here. It's as good as they say. If not dated, you can definitely see how it influenced everything, basically, going forward. Like, I know that Bryan Cranston said that Walter White was partially influenced by Tony Soprano, and John Hamm said Mad Men, Don Draper was also partly inspired by Tony Soprano. It's a little bit like
both family men becoming unhinged.
Yeah, especially like the earlier seasons. Technically, they're not as anything from passable to bad, but that's not. They're filming in fucking 4:3 aspect ratio, right? Like, it is what it is. It was a limitation of the late 90s, right? Got better with time, obviously. The acting and writing obviously carried the entire thing. You can definitely see how this was like a, revolutionary, like changed television programming forever. Yeah, it was great. It's probably, I would say it's safely in my top 10 television series, maybe top 5 if I watch it a couple more times. But, yeah, I'm 25 years old and very, very big into like gangster movies and culture. And this is the first fucking time I've watched The Sopranos through is right now.
Well, hey, welcome to the 21st century, I guess.
Yeah. And it's fun. What's funny is almost every member of the cast has a fucking podcast.
Oh, shit, eh?
Most of them started during COVID.
Yeah.
Rob Ayers and Jamie Lynn Spiegler, the brother and sister, like AJ and Meadow, they have a podcast together with fucking YouTuber Kasim G, who I completely forgot about. I don't know if you know this fucking guy.
Nope.
He's like an OG YouTuber.
Okay.
Whom I remember watching when I was like 8 years old.
Oh, like OG Rooster Teeth, Red vs. Blue era.
Like Ray William Johnson, think that kind of.
Oh, yeah.
So this was a guy who, was a YouTuber way back when. I hadn't even thought about him in a decade. And then when I saw the fucking listing for their podcast, because I was like, after I'm done the show, I like reading like the Wikipedia and stuff, or not the whatever, the fan Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But I don't like to do it while I'm watching because I don't like to spoil myself. Because you ever like click on a character on Wikipedia and it's like deceased this date, and you're like, oh, he dies, fuck off. Like, so I try not to spoil myself. But yeah, so I was like scrolling through their Wikipedia and it's like, oh, they have a fucking podcast together. I'm like, oh, that's cool. The brother and sister on screen have a podcast together. It's like, yeah, with YouTuber Kasim G. And I'm like, I got like a core memory access. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, how do they even know each other? But that's not like it's not a Sopranos podcast. It just happens to be two members of the cast from The Sopranos. They talk about Sopranos a lot, and they had Michael Imperioli, and they had the girl that plays Adriana. They've had like all the cast on the podcast since then, but they don't actually talk about
the show.
Not specifically, but Sopranos is like the only acting AJ ever did. He was in like the shitty Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
Yeah.
As like a bully, like not really a main cast. And then he was in one other movie, like some indie film, and then he's never done anything since.
Like by choice or?
Yeah. Well, he was getting, by the last season, he was getting paid like $100,000 an episode or something.
Yeah.
Banked $10 million over the series, presumably. And then remember, by the time they were done filming, he was 19.
Yeah.
And just
and
presumably got a good investment manager and then just fucked off.
And I'm assuming he probably still gets royalties to some degree.
Presumably, depending on what the contract looks like.
Yeah.
He probably still gets something. It's like fucking Frankie Muniz after he was on Malcolm in the Middle, he retired. He drives Formula 1 cars now.
That's dope.
Like retired at 20 and was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm done acting.
That's how child stars should take it.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Like imagine, because fucking AJ was like 12 when they started, finished when he was like 20, and then just retired. Like that's the way to fucking go. And then so Michael Imperioli, the guy that plays Christopher, and the guy that plays Bobby, they have a podcast where they go episode by episode, watching every episode and they're like 3 hours long, and they like go scene by scene being like, this is what happened, this is what we felt, like whatever. I haven't watched any of that yet, but I probably will. And they've had like Steve Buscemi on and like all the other cast members.
That's a category of podcast that I can't listen to.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
I don't find like the rewatch podcast interesting.
Seeing as I just finished the series, that has no appeal to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like fresh in my memory.
Right.
Maybe in a few years I'll be like, oh, like I'll watch that. I'm like, oh, I remember that too. Like, like nostalgia kind of thing.
I'm just not interested in film. I think that's the biggest thing.
I'm very interested in film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
I'd rather listen to like the driest fucking foreign policy podcast.
Yeah. And like Adriana has a different podcast, and like everyone just made a podcast like during COVID. Because it's like, oh, I'm an actor. I can't act anymore because COVID shut down all the films sites. I'm just at home and I'm kind of famous. Podcast time. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I bet Shure is doing great. Fuck, we should have bought Shure stock.
Well, I have no idea what that is. Oh, the mics?
Yeah.
Are they publicly listed? Who knows?
Who knows?
So here's this is a business podcast after all. We're 38 minutes in.
Really?
I think so. So we have a little stock trading group chat. You're in it, even though you're the only member of it that doesn't actually buy any of the stocks, I think. So you're in it and it's like five other.
Because I have my own little dirty game going.
Okay. I don't know what that means. But our stock pick of the week. We think Canadian, what is it? Potash? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Potash. So potash is a fertilizer. It's a nitrogen-based fertilizer. You can either mine it out of the ground or you can make it by like burning wood or something.
Yeah.
And
I think it's from charcoal based.
I Googled it because Zach was like, no, it's mine. I'm like, no, you can. My dad used to definitely make it for his wildflowers. He's like, no, you can't. It's just mine. I'm like, no. So I Googled it. You basically like burn wood, get the charcoal, and then like cool it super quickly. Burn it again, and then put it in water, and then it'll separate, and then you like skim off the top, and then what you're left with is potash or something. It's like introducing different chemicals, whatever. I'm not a scientist, but so 60% of the world's potash comes from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, the province that we live in, and the neighbor one.
Within like 6 hours of us.
And the rest of the potash in the world, and everyone buys this for fertilizer.
Yeah.
China, America, they all buy it for fertilizer. But the rest of it is coming from Russia and Belarus.
Yeah.
And if you're listening from Futureland, it's February the 23rd right now, 2022. And Russia just moved like 100,000 troops into Ukraine.
They just didn't they just mobilize? No,
No,
they're like 200,000 troops now.
Yeah. No, this afternoon they moved into Ukraine, or they moved into these
Forward operating positions. Whatever that means.
these Russian states inside of Ukraine.
Right.
They're calling
Russian separatist states.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I'll give you the quick Cole's notes on, or sorry, you finish your thought.
So
summarize.
The world is sanctioning Russia, aka not buying their potash, aka buying Canadian potash.
The only other potash.
Exactly. So that's the bet that we're making this week. We'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, and also another good bet would be if you can find, I think it's probably China, so this might not be possible.
China.
But, titanium. So Boeing is very dependent on titanium, and they currently get around a bunch of sanctions to Russia or against Russia in a bunch of different creative ways. But yeah, if this new wave of sanctions comes in against Russia, Boeing's going to be fucked on their titanium supply.
So want to start a titanium company?
Sure. So titanium might be another gameplay, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways to make profit on this calamity.
I've been saying
which is just American.
I've been saying for years we should get into war profiteering.
I mean, this basically is.
Yeah, it's like in Billions where he started shorting airline stocks when the first plane hit the Twin Towers.
Yeah, and it was especially egregious because
his partners died.
Most of his firm died in 9/11.
This is a fake show, though,
Yeah.
obviously, so it's a television series, so it might not be.
Yeah,
but
just like 9/11. Anyway, so the update on, I guess, if you haven't been paying attention to the nuance of foreign policy in Ukraine and why the fuck any of this is happening, I know you don't care about it that much, but I think it'd be funny to debate like Russia is in the right here versus Russia is in the wrong.
Which side are you taking?
I would take Russia's right.
That's the side I wanted to take.
I know, that's why it's not going to be an argument.
Okay, so Russia is wrong.
Russia has more claim to Ukraine than U.S. does to Iraq.
You know,
full stop.
yeah, that's
Full stop.
I don't think there's any person that would argue that's true. Like, there's no mental gymnastics you can do to think the U.S. deserves Iraq more than Russia deserves Ukraine.
And you know what's great? The same line that Colin Powell used to justify the invasion of Iraq, Putin used that same line.
Did he do it on purpose? Well, what's the line?
Don't imagine
Do you
that he
remember
did
it?
it on accident. He basically said Ukraine might have, or sorry, not might have, but Ukraine,
the
if
weapons of mass destruction
they join NATO, will develop weapons of mass destruction. Then he broke down like how long it would take for a cruise missile
to go
from
from
Ukraine
Kiev to Moscow.
Yeah, to the Kremlin, and he like a hypersonic would be 7 minutes. Like he's like, and this is an existential threat to my nation, and they could develop weapons of mass destruction, and that is like that's reason enough for our national security to be.
I thought
threatened.
we had nuclear non-proliferation treaties. No one gives a shit.
Not really.
Okay.
U.S. just authorized a whole new generation of nukes to be built.
Perfect.
In the last defense bill.
Thanks, Biden.
Yeah. I mean, they've been kicking the can for like 15 years. They finally did it.
Because Russia's flexing.
No, it was before that. It was with the last budget bill where they like paid out a bunch of COVID people.
So the leader of our farthest left federal party, Jagmeet Singh, he's the leader of the New Democrats here in Canada, tweeted a long tweet, as long as a tweet can be, talking about how Canada is on Ukraine's side. Their president's also named Vladimir.
Yep.
But it's spelled differently.
I love the story of their president. Basically,
what is it, Belensky or something? What's his name?
Yeah, Belensky.
Something like that.
They basically elected like Jon Stewart to be president.
He's a TV show?
He's a TV host comedian.
No, I remember when he got elected. This is pretty recently, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he and he didn't even think he was going to win. He did?
Yeah, he made like a TV show to like basically playing as a politician, like making fun of politicians.
Yeah.
I think your glass is leaking, dude. You're dripping all over yourself and it's all over the table. I don't know how, but I think your glass is leaking.
Yeah, it was like, this seems like a lot of like cup rings.
Yeah, every time you pick it up, you drip on your shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't even noticed. Editor, put in, zoom in every time it drips on my shirt.
That's a good cut. But yeah, basically, Ukraine's president is like Jon Stewart, which I think is amazing. But, you really have to understand the history completely, which I'm not going to go over because it's long and boring. But the word Russia is actually, it's derived from the original, civilization, basically, which is now Kiev. And they have a deep, deep history. Like, it is actually a major security issue for Russia to not control the Ukraine. It's a prosperity issue. It's an agricultural issue. Like, there's a lot that they lose by not having Ukraine, or a lot that they gain by having it. Not in the short term, because sanctions will knock out all the gains that they could possibly have.
Well, less than you think. They've spent the last couple decades making sure they're not reliant on the United States.
Right, and the last set of sanctions, if you think that they're being effective, I think most recent estimates guess that the effect to GDP was under 2%.
Oh, sorry, I was in the middle of a sentence before my cup started leaking.
Yeah.
The leader of the New Democrat Party, which is the farthest left party in Canada, the farthest left that gets seats. We have a communist party, but they're not taken seriously. Tweeted something along the lines of, Canada is standing in solidarity with Ukraine and their sovereignty, and we respect their sovereignty against Russian aggressors. And I responded in the form of a tweet. And I phrased it exactly how he phrased it, and I'm like, can the New Democrats respect the sovereignty and independence of Wet'suwet'en against Canadian aggressors? Because it was
going to say Palestine.
Well, that too, but no, it's the NDP is the provincial government in British Columbia, where they're using militarized police to brutalize and assault and arrest land protectors, like natives
of their own land.
Natives is trying to get them off their own land, but they're trying to build a pipeline through it illegally. Well, yeah, the court gave them an injunction to stop, and they just didn't stop the cops. And that's our farthest left party, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then it was like the most liked reply on his tweet was what I said.
Nice.
Yeah.
You gonna get interviewed again? I hope he fucking reads that shit.
I can't imagine he does, but like,
yeah.
God, I hope like it's like the fucking hypocrisy of these people. Like, so if America declares a rebel state legitimate, it's just like, yeah, that's true. Russia does it, no. Like,
And yeah, obviously the UN is against Russia invading Ukraine. And when the US wanted to invade Iraq,
that's fine.
The UN was like, no.
Yeah.
And the US was like, we're going to do it anyways. Russia's like, no, we're going to veto that. And the US like, okay, we're doing it anyways.
Yeah. So
And
what's the difference here?
None.
It's just American exceptionalism where they think America's untouchable.
There is literally, I'm not even going to give a number, like, because it's absurd. Like, there's no reason aside from oil and whatever the fuck Bush was hard on to invade Iraq. Like, there was, like, for the greater good of Americans, like, no American, like, lived a better life today because they invaded Iraq.
No. Well,
there's definitely not a net good, except for unless you're...
the board of directors of Halliburton and the
I was going to say, unless you're in the military-industrial complex.
Yeah. All the people that were manufacturing small arms and shit, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. giving no-bid contracts
to weapons manufacturers.
to Halliburton to rebuild places they just bombed the ever-living fuck out of from other no-bid contracts, and they refused to spend, $300 a month on a child tax credit because that's quote-unquote too expensive. Jesus fucking Christ.
They spend $10,000 per cup of coffee in the military.
They spent... Okay, they're like, okay, we want to spend a few $1 trillion back home to improve our infrastructure and the well-being of our citizens. And they're like, everyone's like, oh God, that's so expensive. And all you hear in the news for months is, this is a $2 trillion bill, this is a $3 trillion bill, this is a $1.8 trillion bill.
And that's like 8 months of spending for the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even how much they spent in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, you want $1.8 trillion? It's like, well, no, you can't have it. It's like, but I want to kill some people in the sand. Oh, why didn't you just say so?
Yeah, they always, it's like it's a $30 million drone being piloted by, or like a $30 million drone shooting a $3 million missile piloted by somebody making $300,000 a year, dropped on someone who makes $3 a day.
Yeah.
Or on a tent that costs $30 on someone who makes $3 a day or something. It's like going down.
Based. It's just flexing on everybody.
We're gonna take a second shot here. If you know,
because I need it.
Yeah. If you know the show, if we take a shot that's under 40%, we take 2.
And sometimes we take more just because.
Sometimes we just take. No one hit me.
Gross. It's like your flask. Your flask killed me.
That didn't even kill me that bad.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
I need to bring my flask. I still have my shitty liquor.
You said you were going to.
I know. I didn't remember until just now. It's gross. But anyways, literally today there was that update of 200,000 troops of Russia's moving to the border. And like I'm reading all these like lefty posts about why we should care about Ukraine getting invaded. And yes, valid, people dying, all like humanitarian crisis, generally bad. I'm not saying invading Ukraine is a good thing. I'm just being the whataboutist in the other direction.
What about America?
Like everyone does the whataboutism to be like, oh, they're so bad, they're worse than me. I'm doing the whataboutism of like, it's fine because we're worse.
Yeah.
I'm a what about it apologist. I don't know.
But what about whataboutists?
Fuck them. Kill them all.
Huh?
What if you didn't?
Yeah, I don't know. If we just stopped talking about Russia, like we stopped talking about coronavirus, then it would go away.
Yeah.
What do you think about Justin Trudeau invoking the War Measures Act? Did we talk about this last week? I don't know if we did.
I think it's happening in between episodes.
I think it was 8 days ago, actually. But
was it? Okay.
Yeah, because he just renounced it finally today.
Yeah, well, that was... Well, I mean...
But they said it was been active for 8 days, they said.
Yeah, okay, which is a pretty short period of time.
But
People, especially, I think it's funny, especially because like yesterday or last night, I was reading like a bunch of posts being like, "This is just the beginning. This is just a pretext."
What I think was going to happen is the Senate was supposed to vote on it like 9 p.m. tonight.
Yeah.
And he got out and he knew he wasn't going to have the votes.
Yeah.
So he got out in front of it.
Right.
And just, oh no, I am rescinding it myself.
Yeah.
So he didn't get shut down. But for those of you who don't know, but it's become fucking international news. Like Ben Shapiro's been retweeting this shit. Like fucking right-wing people have been talking about this. Tucker Carlson, our Prime Minister invoked the War Measures Act, which basically suspends civil liberties. They can freeze your bank accounts. They can arrest you without charging you with anything. They can hold you indefinitely. They can send the military in, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not called the War Measures Act anymore. It hasn't been since 1988. But
it sounds better.
The irony, it's like the Emergencies Act now. But anyway, he invoked it because there were people honking outside his house.
Fair.
Anyway, the whole trucker protest thing. If you don't remember that, if you're listening to this in Futureland, just Google trucker protest 2022 Canada, and it'll refresh your memory. But he invoked the War Measures Act, and even like far left groups were like, maybe don't suspend people's civil liberties.
Yeah, I don't know many people on either side
that are like, this was a good
spectrum
decision,
that think it was okay.
Yeah. So now, and I find it funny because he's arresting the organizers of the trucker convoy. And it was a long weekend on the weekend, so they had to spend 4 days in prison.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. That's broadly funny because
these people are fucking idiots.
The organizers are shitbags.
They're racists. They're like...
We're not saying that because of their protest. It's
no.
Objectively not connected to the protest or the movement whatsoever. They were already pieces of shit.
One
of them was the leader of the Yellow Vest movement, which, I mean, Google that, look into it. It's pretty... interesting.
Yeah, the people, the organizers latched themselves on to, like, you guys know my political philosophy as of late. There's dupers and dupies. That's my entire political philosophy. There's no left, there's no right. There's just dupers and dupies. And the organizers, Pat King and Tamara Litch, were dupers, and everyone they made sit out in the cold while they were in a fucking 5-star hotel honking, those were the dupies. Yeah. But now that they're arrested and it looks like everything's turning around, they're now dupies as well. How fast the fucking turntables turn, right? It was funny because, while everyone drove big rigs across the country and slept in the cold and slept outside for 24 hours a day.
It's a very long drive, by the way. It's boring as hell.
40, 50 hours.
Tamara, at the speed they were doing it, is like 100 hours.
Tamara Litch, one of the organizers, flew private
charter jet.
Private jet, and then stayed in rented an entire floor of a hotel to live in Ottawa while the protest was happening. And they arrested her.
And she's not a wealthy woman.
No, so we either think it's dark money or she's just siphoning the fucking GoFundMe, right?
Yeah.
And for whichever way you believe this protest, everyone who donated that fucking GoFundMe is a dupie. 100%. There's no, don't give rich people your fucking money. Just don't.
They don't, do you know how much truckers make?
Not even, well,
they don't need your cash.
And then the Canadian Trucker Association released a statement being like, there's no real truckers there.
No, because none of the organizers were truckers or associated or backed by any.
You know what real truckers do? Work.
Drive.
They drive.
Yeah.
They don't have fucking time to sit in a fucking jacuzzi in the streets of Ottawa.
Yeah, my grandpa's a trucker and he's fucking fed up with this shit.
But they denied her bail because she's a flight risk because she took a private jet. So she's in fucking prison. And the funniest, in solitary confinement because she's unvaccinated. So she can't be part of fucking general population.
Honestly, she's probably better off.
So funny. What would have been funny, even funnier, is if they put her in prison and they're like, oh yeah, she's vaccinated. and she was just lying.
That would have been
to,
amazing.
Fucking,
oh my god.
because that's come out. That's been a couple. Candace Owens is vaccinated.
Yeah.
And still allegedly, don't sue me. Candace Owens allegedly is vaccinated because there's pictures of her secretly in like events that you have to be vaccinated to get into.
Yeah.
Her supporters have been like, oh, she probably fucking got around it because she's famous, right? Whatever. But she constantly posts, I will never get vaccinated. I'll never fucking put this shit in my body. And then she's like spotted in places where you have to be vaccinated.
No, that's super common.
It's come out a few times. There's a few different people.
I believe, any Republican senator that's sitting, or no, maybe their Senate doesn't have a vaccination requirement. I think a lot of the buildings do. But anyways, most of them were like super pro-vaccine when Trump was being like, yeah, I'm going to roll out these vaccines. Like
Trump was like the fifth person in America to get the vaccine.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to roll these things out fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah.
And like all the Republicans are like, yeah, vaccines. Biden gets into office. 2 weeks later, everyone's like, vaccines are poison.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, vaccines are poison. Like, it's like a fucking Family Guy bit where it's a bunch of
9/11 is bad.
It's a bunch of raging idiots with like pitchforks and torches.
Yeah. Well, it's like the South Park. Like, they took it down! And they're just mad because the aliens are taking their jobs, but it like doesn't even make any sense, and they're all just mad. Yeah. But it's like one of my favorite clips is Trump speaking on stage. This is pretty recently to like Alabama, or like in Alabama, and he's like, yeah, like the easiest way to get back to normal is get vaccinated and we can stop talking about it. And he gets booed.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I know, your freedoms. Like, I got vaccinated. He's like, if anything bad happens, my Trump's not very good, my impression, but if anything bad happens, you'll be the first to know. I'll call Alabama and I'll be like, hey, something bad happened. But until then, nothing's happening. Like,
I love his bits. If something bad happens, you know what? I'll call Alabama. Like, who says that?
He is objectively hilarious. I don't give a fuck what people say.
He's objectively brilliant on stage. It is a bit.
Here's something that happened today. That's a business topic. Wow. Second one in an hour. He just launched his Truth.
Oh, yeah. I heard
officially
about it.
launched this morning.
Yeah.
He has a new social media called Truth. Which apparently was plagued by bugs and hackers, but they got it going. It's launched.
Yeah, I heard.
So what do you think about that?
I heard a bit about it, and the guy's like, I tried to create an account, and it just said something went wrong, and it just was
apparently
giving you an error message.
Apparently, it was not a good rollout.
Yeah,
but it's apparently live now. So follow us at truth.com/alcohol beyond this point, and add me personally, Willows Soprano, on Truth.
I don't usually do this, but I think I should actually get on this network. I want to see what the fuck's going on in there.
Well, it's probably like Parler, but just worse.
No, it'll be better.
Okay.
For like 3 months.
Yeah, okay. Until all the racists find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Either skinheads or pedophiles will find it.
Well, I wanna make a Truth, just to fucking see Trump tweet again.
Literally.
But like, it's not as funny when it's not on Twitter, because everyone on Twitter was just like, why? Like, all his replies were not from his supporters. They're just like, why are you doing this? Like, oh man. Every morning, refreshing Twitter to see 7 unhinged tweets from 3 in.
Yeah.
And I'm
this is a world leader. That it turns it from it makes it change from being entertainment to like, this is actually thrilling because somebody might die because of this.
Well, it's like, you see that fucking video of him with Kim Jong Un? He's like, everyone got pictures? We're looking good and thin. And like the heavy...
That's one of my favorite moments of his entire presidency.
North Korean dictator is like,
and he dropped weight after that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he respect Trump? I know he met with him a bunch, but like...
He's a fucking child. He was humiliated.
Wow. Yeah.
Like think of Kim Jong Un as a 12-year-old. That's pretty much what his emotional maturity appears to be. Like, he was hurt.
Yeah, that's funny. When Trump probably doesn't even remember that.
No.
Dude, I came up with...
No, I bet you it's a fucking drinking story that this guy still tells.
Trump.
I bet you
Man,
if I was Trump, I'd be like, yo, this one time I told Kim Jong Un he was a fucking fat ass. Let me show you the video. It would be funny every time.
Does he drink alcohol, Trump?
I don't think so.
Trump vodka? Yeah, I don't think he does either. I feel like he's like doesn't.
I think he's a well done steak and HP kind of guy.
He's yeah. Well, he's one of those like productivity guys. Like you can't have any substances because it hurts your productivity. I think.
No, I think he's the kind of guy who just can't handle having any liquor.
Yeah, because I feel like I've never seen him with a drink in his hand or anything.
Yeah, because like I'm gonna compare him to probably Arnio would be the closest in personality wise, and he's like straight edge. He doesn't have liquor. Like I never saw the guy drink a drop of anything. Never took any like not even so far as like nicotine in like a vape form, like nothing. And at the same time, this was one of the most addicted, hooked, like junkie personality people I ever met. But he was a junkie on pizza.
Yeah.
He was junkie on sugar. He was a junkie on like some health fix.
Yeah.
He would take supplements in a manic manner. Like I feel like Trump would be that guy. If he touched alcohol,
he'd just go fucking overboard.
Fucked.
And he doesn't. Do you think he knows that?
He knows it for sure.
Do you want me to bleep his name? You just said it?
I don't care.
Okay. God rest his soul.
His estate will not sue me because it is his mother and she loves me.
I know.
And I love her. She's
I know
great.
I know you just have history with him, but
like it's just that personality of people that just like they don't drink because they just like it's something that there's no benefit.
Okay. So here's someone
like there's no pleasure, there's no benefit. It's just like
there's no downside to liquor for me.
Mhm. Same here. I don't have an addictive personality at all.
I am an addict. Not only am I an addict,
but you're not an out of control addict. You're well in control. You just don't care well enough to quit. You can moderate how much you drink.
Yeah.
You scale up, you scale down. You get drunk sometimes. You're not getting fucked every day.
Not anymore.
You just have like a mild dependency.
Yeah, I still, it's better than it was. I used to, like, my hand would shake if I didn't drink for 24 hours.
Yeah, same with most people, they don't have coffee.
Yeah, I'm not saying fucking people aren't addicted to, like, yeah, fair, that's a fair point. I'm definitely an addict, but I'm also, I don't know, it's hard to explain, because I guess I was going to say, okay, what I was going to say is that I'm very preserving. Like I want to keep myself alive and functioning.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like suicidal. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's self-preservation and nihilism intersecting. It's great.
Yeah. Whatever. But I'm definitely an addict, but there is
who isn't? Yeah,
there is no like I have had hangovers that would probably kill a Victorian child. Like, I've had hangovers worse than COVID. I've had hangovers...
For sure. 100%.
I've had hangovers... I'm trying to think of the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I've been in car accidents. I've broken bones. I've had hangovers worse than that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never had a hangover bad enough that I wanted to not... I would be like, God, please, I'll never drink again. Alcohol is so good.
I don't even want to talk about my worst hangover. It's too incriminating.
It is so awesome. It just tastes good, and
it's totally fine.
And you drink a couple drinks, and it gives you the best feeling ever. And you drink a few more, and you can do anything. And you can, and you're funny and handsome, even though other people don't think you are. And then it's just awesome. And then sometimes it hurts you in the morning, but God, that's how we know we're alive, huh?
It's
like a sunburn.
Yeah. It's worth it.
You're going to not go to the beach because you got a sunburn? Fuck you.
It's worth a day in the sun.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So alcohol is so good.
So I think if you drink coffee in the mornings, you need to check your privilege because
you're an addict.
First of all, where's that coffee coming from?
Dude,
who picked it?
these fucking boomers, these goddamn Karens that are like
Drinking instant coffee.
that are
Hoot.
fucking drinking coffee and then shitting on people like my brother for doing drugs.
That are probably just...
Meanwhile, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. You know what that is? You know what they're fucking saying? They're saying, I am not myself until I take performance-enhancing drugs, until I take mind-altering substances. Then I am myself. Then I am my person. But my fucking, I need to have a drink to get there. My fucking brother needs to take a Percocet to get there. Fuck you. These fucking Karens with their goddamn coffee mug that says, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. But you know what? If you don't give a homeless person fucking money because they're just going to buy drugs with it. They're going to buy marijuana. Fuck you, these fucking...
Another fun part about drugs, these supposed colorblind drug enforcement laws in the U.S. I shouldn't say U.S., in everywhere. Where if you get caught with a dime bag of Coke, like, slap on the hand. If you get caught with a dime bag of crack,
life in prison.
Minimum sentence 10 years. Like,
it's because judges' children do cocaine and black judges' children do crack.
No, literally. Who brought crack?
Ronald Reagan.
Into the neighborhoods.
Ronald Reagan.
Literally.
It was the FBI, or it was the CIA, and Reagan started flooding black neighborhoods with crack.
And you know what they did?
Destabilize the Black Panthers, right? I think that was the reason.
Just blacks.
Also because they don't like black people.
Well, just any civil organization and progression whatsoever. Like, how do you destroy a community and its continuity, turn it into gangs feuding over drug territory?
But Wall Street functions on cocaine, so you have to keep that around.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fucking like George W. Bush was like high on cocaine and crashed a fucking car in like when he was like 20. No one ever fucking talks about that shit.
Okay, so I just short-circuited because I wasn't fully paying attention. I thought you said Washington?
George Washington
was on cocaine and crashed his car. And
so
I'm like,
fucking George Washington crashed a car over the Delaware River.
So, Willows, can you tell me about the misinformation campaign that you've been running?
I would love to. I just need a little bit more information. Which disinformation campaign?
Posting communist quotes over
right.
Ronald Reagan's face.
No, I didn't do that. I
think it's a great way.
No, what I've been doing recently. No, I have done. I haven't done that in a while. Why do you? It wasn't Ronald Reagan. You post things said by like Tucker Carlson over a picture of
Mao.
No, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And then you get people to like agree or disagree with it, and then you're like, haha, and then you rug pull, and you're like, haha, actually this is someone you agree with.
Yeah.
It's like there's a great, I'll put it on the screen. If you're watching the YouTube version of this podcast on youtube.com/votewillows, I'll put it on the screen right now. It's a Twitter exchange, and it's a marble. You ever see these like marble statues where it's fucking like the texture is unreal?
Yeah.
Like it's like flowing dress and like all this, right? So it's a marble sculpture of a woman, like a beautiful woman. And someone, it was like reposted on like one of those like Sigma male kind of pages that like are not satire, like this is real.
Yep.
And they're being like, the reverence a man has for a woman, look at how you can like express that. Right. Like just the love that a man has for a woman. They're basically trying to say like family unit important. Like look at the care and craft that a man has for a woman to be able to create something like that. It's almost otherworldly. It's like heavenly, right? And then so this woman's like, or this presumably woman responds to the tweet and is like, so you're saying like, or he's like, can you give me an example of a woman artist that could create something like this? And they're like, no, like nothing comes to mind. And then she posts another angle of the sculpture that he's posting with the sculptor, who's an Asian woman. He's like, this sculpture was sculpted by an Asian woman, you fucking misogynist piece of shit. Like,
amazing.
Yeah, but it's like, it's the same kind of idea. With like a lot of times, if you explain communist ideals to the average conservative without calling it communism, they're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, like I just was saying before, like a Nazi commune.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is ironic.
Well, Nazis were socialists. It was in the name.
True. No, it's absolutely true because, I mean, most ideas are broadly agreeable. It's on the margins that people disagree.
Well, yeah,
and it's 80%
of people.
And it's on the margins of shit that doesn't matter that they disagree. Like, people that are on the right simultaneously hate socialism, but want...
EI. Or not EI, but like CPP.
They want tax cuts for themselves, a.k.a. government support.
I have somebody on my Facebook, exactly what you're saying, that is posts like anti-socialism memes all the time.
Yeah.
This is an older gentleman who's collecting Canadian pension plan, CPP, which is after you hit 65, or I think you can change it. You can take it early, but it's less money.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like once you're retired, you can take CPP and it's a payment every month it's a social safety net. And
literally Social Security.
It's
literally socialism.
Canada's version of Social Security. And so he posts anti-communism and anti-socialism memes all the time, and then also complains that his CPP isn't high enough.
Amazing.
So I commented one time, how about you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and start a side hustle in your retirement, and then you won't have to fucking rely on your CPP. Invest that $314 a month.
Yeah.
And buy fucking crypto. And like, I was being facetious, obviously, right? Just trying to illustrate that they're a hypocrite.
I'm sure you got the point.
No, they did not. They fucking responded with a paragraph being like, the fucking government doesn't care about seniors and war veterans and blah, blah, blah.
It's true because you know what they do? Corporate bailouts. Give money to Israel.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like these conservatives that are anti-welfare but pro-corporate bailout, and then the liberals that are like pro social safety net but not pro like giving money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like everyone is dumb except me. Like I've said it before.
Dupers and Dupes.
Everyone's done except us, and you I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, well.
We're going to transfer here into the last segment of the show called Top of the Morning, Tip of the Word, Tip of the Week, Tip of the Week. Was that better?
No.
Okay. We're going to transfer here into the segment that we call Tip of the Week, the part of the show where Tyler and I give you real advice that we are currently going through in life or business. I don't have one off the top of my head this time, if you want to go first.
No.
Every single day, every week, Tyler...
This is a surprise.
It's a surprise to him. And not only is it a surprise to him that this segment is coming up, but he's also personally mad at me for having this segment that we've both came up with.
Yeah, I'm still mad. I'm not over it yet. No.
Join Truth. That's it.
Actually, yes.
Mic drop.
No, that's going to be your tip.
Yeah, I just gave it. Anyway, your tip?
Mine would be buy a ring light with a stand.
Make it more broad. Invest in the image of your business.
No, just ring lights.
Okay, perfect.
Because the image of your business is dependent on ring lights.
No. I'll take it one farther. Start a ring light store where all you sell is ring lights.
Sure. Yeah, I was at Winners the other day, which is just the best place in the world. And if you don't know what it is, I guess get fucked. But it's stuff that basically doesn't sell at other department stores. It's like
Winners is a department store.
It's like last year's fashion.
Yeah.
Or last year's
Wait, is Winners Canadian?
home goods. I don't know.
I think it is. I want to say it is.
Maybe. I don't care to look. But
I don't
anyways,
care
got this amazing thing. But I was just walking through it. It's like I had this intent. We've had this intent to get something like this for a while. And I've had an intent to like get a nice stand for my phone so I can take videos of, for social media while I'm working of like different things that I'm doing. And just been having all kinds of weird workarounds. We've had this like painting easel from your roommate for the longest time, like since we started.
For the last year.
Yeah, for this podcast. And the solution was literally $30.
It's fine.
This podcast is like, it's diligence, it's commitment, it's discipline, and we do it all the time. And then this was an impulse.
Okay, and what do you think about that?
I think it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
it's kind of weird that you
that you lay it out like that.
You put in a lot of effort into things, but like the marginal improvement is so fucking hard. I don't know why.
I guess actually now that you like bring it up in that kind of respect, I guess I feel like that with my business too, where it's like we will put in more work to like avoid spending $10, where it's like just spend the fucking $10
or spend 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just set up a project management system for our contracting business, and I've been putting it off, and been talking about it for months. Finally, business partner just like signed up for the free account and like sent me the login details, and like that was the only kick I needed. I'm like, okay, great, we have the account out, now I have to do something with it. Literally took me 2.5 hours. I built this fucker out. I knew in my mind, like I've been visualizing it for a while, I knew what I needed to do, looked up the new features, implemented it all, built out the thing, populated with our relevant data, and then spent an hour running Branton through the details. And now we have the system, and it's great. It's working great. We love it so far. I mean, it's week 1. Of course, you're in honeymoon phase. It took
tell me about it.
It took 2.5 hours. Like, what the fuck? Like, we lose probably 2 hours a week
trying to like
off of
deal
not
with
having
bullshit.
that, like off of mistakes.
Because you don't have the software.
Because we didn't have a system.
So what do you think that is, though? Like, what do you think that is?
I don't know, human nature?
We're just idiots.
No, it's human nature of you. Everyone tries to preserve energy.
Okay.
That's the basis of everything is preservation of energy, preservation of time. And the idea of investing time to save time is not...
It doesn't compute.
It literally doesn't compute.
There's a...
the idea of spending $30 to improve something that I spend that much a month on gas just to attend, like... It's absurd. It doesn't make any logical sense, but it's the most difficult shit in the world.
Just quick, when you said like our human nature is to like conserve energy, there's a little comic. It might be a Far Side, I'm not sure, but it's like, I think it's like lions or something, and they're looking at a jogger running, and they're like, "What apex predator? What are you doing? You're not conserving your energy. You're wasting it. You're just fucking." And then another lion comes up and he's like, "What is he doing?" He's like, "I don't fucking know." And it's like, you're wasting you need to conserve that energy. What if you need to hunt? Like,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's just like
that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's literally what it is.
It's interesting.
Conservation of energy. It gets in the way. So I don't know. Key tenant. What are you avoiding right now? That's actually super fucking easy. That's only a couple of bucks, couple hours, a little bit of time that you're just procrastinating the fuck out of. That would actually drastically improve your life. Think about it. You're an idiot. I'm an idiot. We're all idiots. And fix one little thing. It'll make you happy.
So my quick tip of the week here. 64% of our listening audience lives in the United States of America, according to the most recent statistics that I looked at. And you're about to be drafted into a war, and you're about to be sent off to fight Russians. Not great. So my tip of the week is if you get involuntarily committed to a mental institution, they can't draft you. So...
Also, if you have crack in your system.
So do with that information as you will.
Yeah, I don't think they draft crackheads.
My name is Willows, and this is Tyler. Thank you for listening to Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast. This is the podcast where we... What do we do?
Give you critical, important life advice for your business.
Alcohol, Linktree.
Truth.com/
yeah, truth.com/alcohol beyond this point. Or Linktree. I think it's like lnk.tree/alcohol beyond the... It's on our Instagram. It's a link. It has everything. It's a Linktree. Purple.
Don't you love a purple taste?
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.